us around, we forgot how to dream. Go out there and teach someone how to dream again. So I hope this was helpful, guys. The next gentleman I want to bring up, tremendous dear friend of mine, huge mentor to me. And you know what's crazy about this gentleman? He gains nothing of what I do or not do. But he chooses to, most importantly than being a mentor, he chooses to be my friend. And that means a lot to me. I was just sharing a story with him the other day where I had one of those down moments that I said, I called him up. I said, hey, Mike, Matt, this business sucks, I don't know. I said, tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. When I get to regional vice president, can I make 30,000? No, how much money can I make when I get to regional vice president? I said, I don't know, man, And one thing about Matt, be careful what you ask for, because he'll tell you the truth, right? Yeah. And I said, hey, how much money? He goes, well, I don't know, bro, 25, 30,000. And I go, Matt, are you freaking kidding me? I make 30,000 and more than that a month already. He says, well, great, the nation's not for you. Hung up. I was like, what the, right? I was like, aren't you going to try to convince me? But this guy, man, I'm telling you, he's you'll hear his story. Anytime you need help, he's still one of the few RVPs that picks up the phone or calls you right back. And I can tell you, he's doing some phenomenal things in the Bay Area, in the East Coast. I can see him walking the stage in the very near future as one of the most decorated senior vice president because of his integrity, his commitment, his dedication, and the leader that he's become. Please help me welcome Mr. Matt Seever.
Morning. Am I on? Can you hear me? Oh, I'm on.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah. Good? How's everyone doing? Good? Fired up? Ready to go work? Guys, I woke up extra early today. Couldn't sleep because I was fired up to get here. I love speaking about ACN. I love sharing this business, love training. And I wake up, anytime there's a training day, it's actually the only day I set an alarm. And I always, 100% of the time, wake up before the alarm. Pretty awesome, right? So before I start my training, I want to give it back to Gabe. It's humbling for him to say those nice things about me. And I just absolutely love this guy. I love ACN because of the relationships that we were able to build and truly caring about helping each other. And Gabe is truly a servant leader. He says those nice things about me, but I got a chance to work with him over the last several years in the Reno market. And he's, like he said, financially we don't benefit from each other, but if ACN wins, we all win, right? And so, being 9 points away from regional director, I'm rooting him on. He's going to be not only an incredible regional director, but RVP and SVP in this business. And I think he did a phenomenal job sharing with you and training us on how to present, how to keep things simple. And his training was very simple, yes or no? Okay? And I want all of you to really show our appreciation back to Mr. Gabe Rosas and everything that he's done. So thank you. Yes. And if we could just take a minute also, Mr. Tim Hargrove, guys, all of this stuff that this environment, they helped create. This took a lot of work to put together this stuff. Can we show Tim also, he's running all this equipment. Can we show our appreciation, right, guys, for this awesome environment? Huh? Yes? For sure. And of course, guys, Mr. Dean Tirali is another great friend of mine, and I absolutely love this guy. I'm looking forward to doing an event with him soon in the next few weeks. And I love his simplicity. His training yesterday on launching, a lot of what I'm going to share with you today, it's going to parallel what you've seen him do on launching. And I love the fact that he keeps things so simple. I believe the simpler it is, the faster it's going to grow, more people can have success in this opportunity. And Dean's training yesterday was just so simple on that launch. And if you master that, you're going to have tremendous success in ACN. So let's show our appreciation back to Mr. Dean Tirali too. Phenomenal leader. So guys, I got involved in this business. I'm probably, outside of Mr. Basutti, Dean, and Byron, been in this business 14 and a half years. And I started at the time that I had a great job, a good union job. I was a garbage man. No, I was a sanitation engineer. I worked out of Oakland, California, and I did that job almost 20 years total. And I was excited when I had that job, not because I like to pick up garbage, but because good pay, benefits, retirement, union job, thought I had job security, found out I was one injury away from like losing everything. And as they downsized the workforce, you know, the 3 men that were on the garbage truck is now one. One's doing the amount of work 3 people used to do. So the 8-hour day became 12 plus hours a day. I got injured multiple times, as many people did in that line of work, to the point where, you know, they were getting rid of me. They said, listen, we don't think you can do the job anymore. The company's going to get rid of you, okay? Because I had been off work for like a year, woke up twice and couldn't walk because I had injuries to my back. The amazing thing is 2 years, 8 months prior to getting injured the second time, I had seen ACN. It just made too much sense, right? It made too much sense. I was like, man, I'm working 60 hours a week, but I don't want to miss out on this. So I signed a rep agreement and I left for 2 weeks. And they're like, where's Matt at? I was hunting. Not with Basutti, but I was hunting. And so I came back and I did everything they told me not to do, trying to talk to people and hadn't had a PBR yet. And mentally in my mind, driving back from Idaho is 14 hours. I had already quit in my mind. And then I got home and I watched a VHS tape. We didn't have all the stuff that you guys have now. It was a VHS tape. And I got a chance to watch Mr. Basutti training on how to get customers, you know, how to do a PBR, and I watched this tape over and over and over. My upline that gave me the tape to watch was my YBA, okay? Because when I was done watching that, she would give me cassette tapes from trainings like this, okay? So this is how important this training is. I hope you guys are recording things and taking good notes, because this is stuff that you'll have forever. And so I got a chance to, you know, start working the business, and about 2 weeks later, I hit ETT, and I got to go to an event to meet Mike. He was there. He was the guest speaker. And for me at the time, I was brand new in ACN. I was like, wow, I'm meeting Mr. Mike Basutti, right? And got promoted on stage with him. And then ever since then, I had gravitated to his trainings and just everything he stood about for ACN, and has always followed what he's been doing because in my opinion, is just the best in the industry overall, okay? And so over the years, got to be great friends with him, and so I'm honored to be here and training with him on stage. So let's give him a round of applause, guys, because he put an incredible environment in place, yes? So thank you. And that leads me to this. As I said, outside of Mike and Dean and I probably have been in the business about the same time, and Mr. Byron Nelson. Of all the trainings in my 14 plus years, yesterday's training, hands down, is the best ACN training I've ever been to, period. And I'm sure some of you agree. And it's going to show in the results, I guarantee, yes or no. Okay? So let's jump into the training. I get to talk about team building, guys. And one of the first key, you notice in the whole training, we've been talking about PBRs, yes or no? Yes. Okay? By a show of hands, has everybody booked a PBR for themselves? Yes. Okay? If you haven't, you need to book a PBR before you leave here. Okay? Put it on the books. I mean a personal PBR. I booked a personal PBR for Monday, by the way. Okay? So I'm coachable. All right? And so one of the things, launching a new person, like I said, Mr. Tirali did such a phenomenal job, sharing the launch and keeping things simple. One of the things that we teach in the launch is we book a PBR, like you heard from Mr. Basutti and Mr. Dean Tirali through the whole training, is book that person's PBR. We want to get into their network today. And we do something called 3-2-1. 3 PBRs in your first 2 weeks. 2 of them are going to be in the first week, and 1 of them is an emergency PBR, meaning I want to get into your network right now, okay? So you want to make sure that you're getting into those people's networks. And listen, you guys have heard this all weekend. We set PBRs at 6:30 and 8:30 through the week. On the weekends, we're going to do PBRs every hour on the hour. And listen, we don't cancel meetings. That means the leader that put you on their calendar, they're coming to your house. So I don't care if you got to get the neighbor, just know we're coming to your house, okay? So you want to have some people there. Now this is, in my opinion, the 100 names list, okay? The 100 names list, and a matter of fact, I'm going to ask you a representative from each table to come up here, and I have a 100 names list for each and every one of you guys, okay? Right in this, you guys can reach in there. So you guys grab these for your table. Yes? How many of you were coachable and made a list of 100 names and numbers by a show of hands? Be honest. So this is the thing, guys. When I got started, I had 80 people on the 100 names list when I showed up to my launch, okay? That is gold right there. Your 100 names list, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to challenge you today to actually, and we want a written list, by the way, okay? The list in your phone, the list on your computer is not the same as writing out the list, okay? There's a psychology in writing these names down, okay? So you want to make a names of 100, and you can make more. Don't stop at 100, okay? And then we're going to invite off of this list. You want to schedule a PBR. So on this 100 names list, guys, you're going to see there's boxes to keep, there's a follow-up chart on there. Who came to a PBR? Who became your customer? Your goal is to knock people off of the list. If they don't become a customer, if they don't become an IBO, guess what? There's a follow-up. I'm going to talk to you today about follow-up. There's fortune in the follow-up. And if you're not following up with people, those people are going to end up on someone else's team, I guarantee you. Okay? So this 100 names list, if you sit down with somebody and you create enough value for them to actually have, take the time, as you heard, like when we're sending somebody home on a launch, we hand this out. We send them home with homework so they're not surfing the internet and listening from some moron in their parents' garage saying ACN don't work. No, if you come with a list of 100 names and numbers, I guarantee you people on that list are interested in getting involved in ACN. See, if you let them show up with 10 names and numbers, guess what? You're setting them up for failure. You need to encourage them and create value of why you want to have 100 names or more on that list, okay? As we invite for PBRs, 20 yeses, you need to learn to sit down with people and actually help them make calls. So even though we practice this script, and see, you guys are far ahead of the game because you guys got to role play. That should actually happen in the launch. If you're not role playing, guess what? They're saying something totally different. 100% they are not sticking to the script. So get 20 yeses minimum. Don't leave that launch until you have 20 people minimum saying yes, they're going to be at their PBR. 10 show up, 2 join, and they're off to what? A successful start, yes or no? Yes. And we set them up for expectations, right? We might have 5 people join. You might have 10 people join. But set them up for realistic, half of the people are going to flake. That's natural. So they're not blown out of the water when people are going like, oh, half of the people flaked. Yeah, that's natural. We already talked about that. There's even going to probably be some haters in your PBR. It's okay, right? We tell them, who cares? But guess what? Some people are going to join. Some people are going to be your customer, okay? Now, so this 100 names list, as you look at it, you guys can keep track of the individual that you're peaking, right? On the back page, it has a memory jogger. I challenge you guys is take some time and put a name next to each of those memory joggers. Take time and put a name next to that. When people go, oh, I don't know anybody, I'm like, really? Like, who cut your hair? Who does your nails? Who's your realtor? What do you mean you don't know anybody? Some of the first people I recruited were people that I just knew I didn't even know their name. I just knew them from the gym. We used to go, hey, what's up? Hey, how's it going? Right? You guys know people like that. And then when I got started in the business, I'm like, right? I introduced them to the business. So that is gold right there, okay? So I challenge you guys to put a name next to each and every one of those names. Guys, the invite, what are we inviting for? The PBR system. You want to build this business fast, you need to have massive PBRs. I do PBRs all week long. We do webinars as Gabe was saying. We started using the Zoom webinar. I don't care if I'm in my car, like I got time set where we're getting the information in front of everybody all day, every day. Okay, so you guys are familiar with different types of presentations, 2-on-1s, your weekly meetings. The most effective way is PBRs, okay? Rolling people into your weekly meetings, that should really be a second exposure, okay? It should be a second exposure that they show up, everyone's suited and booted, and we're talking with a little more confidence when we're in front of the stage, right? Some people come there for a first exposure and they look like that Bose commercial, right? Their hair is blowing back, okay? So in a PBR, it's a little more casual setting. That's the enrolling process, okay? Now, edification is huge. You know, it's funny because I watch a lot of people struggle with inviting. And it's because you're trying to sell ACN. And what I found is if you're good at edification, just talk about the people they're coming to meet. Matter of fact, that's a good way to get them off of asking a bunch of questions. Start enrolling them in who they're going to meet. And see, the leaders know, they can tell by the introduction that when you introduce the person to them of how the edification went. We know. So if you are good at edifying, it's just creating value so they'll listen to the presenter. Always introduce them by their last name, prospect by the first name. That's like number one rule. As soon as you put them both on last name, put them on level playing ground, it's like kryptonite to Superman. You just took away all the leader's power that's working for you, okay? So learn to edify. You can edify each other. I can edify ETTs, QTTs. Guys, master edification, and what's going to happen is you're going to enroll more people, and you're going to create value of why they're going to listen to the person presenting at the PBR, the person training at your local meeting, okay? So edification is huge. Piquing interest. Guys, this is a similar script, right? Whatever you're using, as Dean said yesterday, I'm not here to tell you to change something. Whatever you're using, if it's working for you, stick with it. I like to keep things simple. You notice this script is almost identical to what's on the launch document, yes or no? Keeping it simple and practicing this. As I said, we sit down with people and we make calls so we know they're saying the right thing, and the right invite is going to get the right results, okay? So this invite is simple. Hi, do you have a minute? You know, basically, you're qualifying their time. And I'm not going to train on this because Dean did a phenomenal job training on this exact topic yesterday, okay? So just know that reading off the script, you actually can read this thing enough times and make it your own. But pretty soon it comes second nature, right? Same thing with the customer script. Guys, when I got started, we had the same script. This is what's funny. I'm going through all of my old ACN stuff. The same things you're hearing today, I learned over 14 years ago. Same favor, help, and try, same language, same invite. This was the invite that got me to go. A lady my wife worked with said, hey, are you open to making extra money outside of what you do? I'm like, yeah, what is it? Tell me about it. She goes, listen, I can't explain it. Just trust me, come to my house. Okay. And I came to her house. So we use the same script, but it's funny, right? We're looking for the answer. What's the secret? You know what the secret is? System. The secret is work, right? Work works, but you got to work. You got to take action to get results, okay? So get good at inviting. Now, questions. This is a simple rebuttal. When someone people have questions sometimes, yes or no? Yes. If you answer a question, they're going to have another question. They ask another question, and you're going to go on and on. Your goal is to get them to see the information, yes or no? So get good at deferring the questions today. That's going to be covered at 6:30. Or you're going to meet an individual that's going to cover that. We like to keep it simple, right? Be new. Even if you're seasoned in the business, be new. Be new. Mike said something that was key yesterday. And it was, for me, it reminded me of something. See, in the business, when you start having success, there's a lot of ETLs, team coordinators, and you guys obviously can peak, you can present, you can train, yes or no, right? And so what happens is sometimes we're out peaking, doing phase one, and if you peak the person, and then you're presenting to them, right, and you're enrolling them, what happens? Is that duplicatable? Absolutely not, because that new person is going to now try to duplicate you. So Mike said something that was key. He peaked an Uber driver, and what did he do? He's obviously qualified to do all of those things, right? But what did he do? He used the system because the system is duplicatable for that brand new person. And isn't it true that we want people to follow a system? Yes. You know, when Gabe talks about Starbucks, McDonald's, they found a system that they could show somebody the right way to do it, and it duplicates with or without them. That's why you can go anywhere in the world and get the same burger at a McDonald's, right? I know I don't eat McDonald's either. You guys are looking at me like, okay, it's okay. But simple, be new. And people ask questions. What is it? Hey, there's an $800 million company expanding the area, deals with technology and making money. That's why you need to come see it for yourself. Trust me, just come over. Guys, do you know you can read off the script? And as I said, as you do it more and more, it just becomes second nature. Pretty soon, like the rebuttals, open-ended questions, it's going to become natural for you. It's going to become natural, okay? So, setting up a PBR, setting up the environment is really key. You have to set up the environment to win. You notice this environment in here was set up a certain way, right? So you need to create the environment. You're in control of the environment. You need to teach the new IBO what is the proper environment, right? And so setting up a PBR, have the video up and tested. And guys, get there early, okay? Get there at least a half hour early and set expectations for the new IBO. Okay? And you could actually even start to plant the seeds in the launch. You want to have phones off the hook, kids in bed, okay, or with a babysitter. We don't need any distractions. And if you're the new IBO, don't answer your phone. Even if you're a seasoned IBO, stay in your seat. Be engaged, be enrolled, be interested, guys, because if you're not, the guests are not. Okay? Distractions, animals, outside, anything cuter than us is a distraction, okay? So, all right? Documents on the table, you know, in color too, okay? I know the rep agreement is black and white, but everything else that could be in color. Guys, we're promoting a multi-million-dollar business. We need to show up like that, right? Have your documentation. You know what's great about the documentation is any one of you in here can open up Success Magazine and say, listen, I work with this person. Use the documentation, right? Get yourself out of the way. I use Mr. Basudi all the time. Listen, I work with this guy. So when people ask questions, just, right? You're creating value, okay? So use the documentation. Matter of fact, they said next event, you better get the Success magazines because they're going to sell out. We buy them, guys, we buy pallets of them. We go to San Jose, we buy like a pallet, okay? Seriously. So when you see us in the back of the stadium, we have a pallet loading in our cars, okay? You need them. Okay, survey. Don't let people leave without filling out the survey. Yes, we're looking for reps, but guess what? If they don't become a business partner, why are we letting customers walk out the door? Learning how to sort a room in a presentation is really key. And the people that are interested, listen, we need to close apps. People that want to be customers, great. Move them, have somebody in another room, like the kitchen or something, filling out surveys and closing them as customers. And you know what's key, guys, is I go to a lot of PBRs and there's no sign-in sheet. Do you know the sign-in sheet is gold? That's a follow-up. You should be following up with that. Within 24 hours, by the way, because you know our excitement level diminishes every 24 hours. They start talking to people, looking for opinions, stuff like that. So you got to have a sign-in sheet, okay? No alcohol. You notice the room is cold in here? Huh? To keep you awake, okay? No alcohol. Alcohol gives people opinions. Are we looking for opinions, yes or no? Huh? We're not looking for opinions. We're looking for people that this makes sense to, okay? Upbeat music before and afterward. Now, that's key also. We go to a lot of PBRs and then there's this awkward silence. And I always make a joke about it. I go, yeah, we're going to turn on some music so there's not like this awkward silence. And they kind of laugh, right? But do you know why we put the music on? Coming in, we want people to be, loosen up. It creates an environment for people to unclose their arms, hand them something to drink. But at the end of the presentation, putting on the music drowns out negativity. When people start giving opinions, you want to get that person out of the room as quick as possible. Remember Mike talked about Tony going outside, okay? He separated that, okay? It helps to have a couple seasoned IBOs maybe with you, teaching them what to do. But that music will help drown out the negativity, okay? So you need some music in there. Now, that's warm market stuff. So I'm going to encourage you guys. This is what I do know. So I put together a whole new, my own list. I actually took a piece of like cardstock and made 2-inch squares, 100 spots I could write names in. And my personal goal is to have 100 people that I got personally in front of the business. Not that I peaked, but that I got in front of the business. Actually, one of the last times I was in Reno, I brought it and shared it. And it's fun because you could see you could keep track of your own phase one. And in there, I write the person's name. Did they become a customer? Did they become an IBO? And like I'm halfway through the list, and like half of the people became IBOs. So as you guys start working this business, your closing ratios are actually going to go up. Okay, it's a good way to keep track of that. But your goal is to get people in front of this information, right? That list right there, we started challenging people on our team, even people that have been in a while. We're like, where's your list? Great, make a new one. Okay, so some of the people on my list, Joe, how many people did you put on a new list?
300 so far.
He's got 300 people on a new list. I said, let's make a new list. So last night he tells me he's got 300 people on a list. I said, okay, we're not waiting any longer. We're going to get into the 300 people, right? There's people, would you guys agree with me? There's probably team coordinators, RVPs, and maybe an SVP on that list, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so that list, before you leave here today, I'm going to encourage you to put a name, as I said, next to each of those, memory jogger, and that list should go with you everywhere. See, cold market recruiting is easy. Just have a conversation. Stop looking at people as a dollar sign, like I need you in my business. As Gabe said, I'm very transparent, I'm very honest, and what I found out in recruiting, like when I go out there, think about this way. Truly care about people. They're not a number. Dean's training was awesome, guys. When he talked about learning your why and then adopting that why, his goal is to help you hit that why. When you're cold market recruiting, listen. Listen more than you talk. There's a saying, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? Listen more and talk less. And so I've been just talking to everybody. Everywhere I go, I talk to everybody. And it's those of you that are, training with your downline or traveling. I was just traveling in Portland a couple weeks ago. I had one of my ETLs. There was an ETL up there, and I said, we're going up there, and it's not open line for him. And I said, okay. He says, should I go up? I want to be enrolled in this. I want to be part of, the buddy system. And I said, sure. I said, but here's the goal. I go, everywhere because he lives in California, okay? So we're going all the way to Portland. And you guys know an ETL isn't making bonus money under an ETL, right? So I said, your goal is to recruit, get some numbers. I go, build a second leg outside of what you have there. And so everywhere we went, we were recruiting. And so what does a leader do? They lead from the front, yes or no? Yes. So everywhere I went with him, I was talking to people, getting numbers. How many numbers did I get, Daryl? Everyone that we talked to, yes or no, right? And what did we do?
Just start a conversation. You told them, really briefly what you do, but you let them talk. And they said, yeah, here's my number. Pretty quick.
So just talk to people. How many of you guys ride Uber around here? You guys have Uber, right? Do you realize that every Uber driver I talk to, that's like a second job for them? Yes. Every Uber driver. They're interested in making extra money. Talk to them. So I was in Arizona. I was telling Mike the other day. I was in Arizona. I've been there like 3 times in the last 3 or 4 weeks. My son goes to U of A, plays baseball. So my wife and I fly in there all the time. And I fly in, I'm trying to get to the stadium, and this guy picks me up, and we just start talking. Hey, my name's Greg. Hey, how's it going? Put it this way, from the airport to the where they play baseball, I already knew that his wife passed away. He relocated from Southern California. He has grandkids. He moved to Tucson, Arizona because he wanted to be next to his grandkids so he could watch them play Little League. All right, I already knew all that about him, and he didn't know anything about me yet. And I'm truly interested in him and what he's telling me. He goes, oh, by the way, I said, hey, we're thinking about buying a second home in Arizona. I'm asking him about Arizona. He goes, well, I sell real estate. I'm a broker. He's handing me his card. And what do you think the next question is? What do you do? Do you know that if you just talk to people, they're eventually going to ask you what you do? And what do you guys say? Are you prepared for that? Do you know what I say? I say, I own a utility company. His head whips around. He goes, ACN? Like he's driving. He's like, ACN? And I go, yeah. I go, I happen to be an RVP in ACN. And he says, wow. He said, someone showed me ACN years ago. I said, really? He goes, yeah. Do you know a guy named Mike Manning? Where's Mike? So he says to me, I said, wow. I said, yeah, from Reno, right? He goes, yeah. I go, yeah, I go up there and train those guys sometimes. And yeah. He goes, yeah. He goes, he showed me ACN. He goes, I haven't heard from him in a long time. He goes, but I'm interested. He never followed up with me, he told me. There's fortune in the follow-up. So he says, can I get your number? Well, he already gave me his card, right? So I text him my number. I go back last week. I said, hey, let's have lunch. He sat down, answered his questions. He signs up in the business. Right? But think about this for a second. I live in California. Mike lives in Nevada. This guy's in Arizona. Do you guys realize that you need to talk to everybody? The 6 degrees of separation is smaller than that right now. Like it's so small, it's not even funny. I talked to another guy, you guys have Black Bear up in Reno, right? So we just finally got it in the Bay Area. So I go there like almost every day, okay? You guys want to get good at cold market recruiting? Yes. Just go out. Go to Starbucks. Go have breakfast. Just start going to places, meeting people. Just start meeting people. You get to know people, build relationships, enrolling them. Yes, we could go out and cold market all day long, which we're going to do between today and tomorrow, right? For tomorrow's event. But truly get good at talking to people. This other guy, Juan, I know him from I've peeked some of the waitresses, I presented to them, and this guy, Juan, is super friendly. Every time he sees me, he's like, hey, what's up? He's happy. And I'm like, I'm going to talk to that guy about ACN. And it's actually been a couple months, to be honest with you. So I go in the other day, and here's Juan. He's happy. And I'm like, how is this guy this happy? I mean, he just got this great personality. So I'm, hey, Juan, how's it going? He goes, it's good. I go, you busy? He goes, yeah. I said, so what do? I ask him questions. So do you do anything else? Right? Ask the Uber drivers, do you do anything else? Most of them say, yes, I work full time. This guy says, well, I don't work here full time. I work here 5 hours a day. He goes, but I work at Olive Garden up the street. So now he's working 2 jobs. I'm like, whoa. I said, okay. And I said, hey, I go, Juan, it sounds like you speak Spanish. I go, do you happen to know anybody in Mexico? Just out of curiosity. He goes, yeah, lots. And I go, have you heard of Movistar? Yeah, the cell phone company? I said, yeah, well, our company's partnered with them, and now they became one of the fastest growing companies in Mexico. He goes, is this that Flash thing or Flash something? Somebody in Mexico called him and piqued his interest. I'm in California. They're from Mexico. And this is happening almost daily. Almost daily. So the people that you don't put on the list, you're going to come to an event and they're going to be in somebody else's business. I guarantee it. And you know what's crazy? You can ask any of the leaders, why are they working right now? Do you know a lot of these guys don't have to be here? They're working hard right now because ACN is better than it's ever been. Like, it is unreal how good this opportunity is. And I'm like kicking myself. And I'm going to tell you, like I said, I'm very honest and I'm very transparent. And I worked a job till I got hurt. ACN saved my life in a lot of ways. And you know what, guys? Getting to RVP, and I told Greg this, and now that I think about it, it was probably stupid that I told him this. But I'm too honest, okay? And if you watch RVP promotion at the end, my wife and I talk about all we wanted was to be free. Wasn't trying to be rich, I just wanted to be free because I didn't want to miss one of my son's baseball games. And so we just traveled. We went and watched. That's why we were able to go to Arizona, and just because of the freedom ACN gives you. But see, what happens is I got a little lazy. A little lazy. I'm not SVP because I've been enjoying the freedom. And I had told Greg that. I like, really? And I said, I need to go SVP. He goes, yeah, you do. And so I'm declaring that now. I'm going SVP. And I need to build another RVP leg. Yes. So I'm giving you permission when you see me to say, hey, how's SVP going? Like, you talking to people, right? Keep me accountable. Because it's easy to get complacent in this business. And we had started some other businesses, and I'm gonna share this with you before I close out my training. And I can tell you from experience now. I worked a job, union job, so I did that. Built ACN to freedom, and built a brick and mortar type of business. So I have experience in those areas. And in my opinion, do whatever you need to do to get free with this vehicle, ACN, because it's worth it. Like it took a little bit of time the last couple of years. I don't know why I did it, to be honest with you. Maybe it was a challenge, but the brick and mortar, can I say it sucks on this camera? It sucks. You don't own it, it owns you. We joke about it in our presentations. Guys, do not get distracted. Do not get distracted from what you have here. I already told you from the bottom of my heart, yesterday's training was the sickest training I've ever seen in ACN, hands down. RVPs and SVPs were created yesterday, guaranteed. Guaranteed. And yes, we're going to hope they get more rooms because we're going to fill up all these rooms for this training in November, okay? So get good at talking to people, all right? We know this is sorting. Basudi did a great job on sorting, guys. Stop trying to convince. Sorting is just asking questions, moving on. And listen, don't discount the person, though. The person that's not interested now, the reason why you have that list is the follow-up. Every 30 days, you should be calling and saying, what's your name? Garrett? Garrett. Hey, Garrett, this is Matt. Hey, last month when I called you, you weren't open to seeing what I was doing. I was wondering if maybe you were open to have coffee with me now. Right? You need to follow up. Things change in people's lives. And if you don't, somebody else comes along, and guess what? He's recruited into ACN. Right? It's going to happen faster and faster and faster. So you need to sort faster, and you need to follow up and follow up and follow up and follow up and follow up. Follow up till they tell you to stop calling. And I'm not saying hounding them. I'm saying call to see, one of my leaders, Arturo Neshi, he like I learned a lot from him. His follow-up game is like on point. I've watched him recruit so many people because he would just call them and say, hey, what's up? And he's a fun guy. Laughs, has a good time. And he just truly calls and asks how they're doing. Hey, how's the kids? And you know, I've watched him recruit people, and you know what they always said? Like, man, I just can't believe that you truly cared. You called just to, and it wasn't always about ACN. He's calling, he truly cared about them. Is that enrolling? Yes or no? And that's why he's so good at recruiting. Okay, so sort, guys. Some will. We already know all this stuff right here. Some are going to join your business, some aren't. Some are going to be your customers, some aren't. But why we're trying to convince that person that's waiting is waiting and waiting and waiting because you're convincing all these other people. Sort, put them on your list, come back. Sort, put them on your list, come back. Okay? Now, I want to close with this. This is a funnel. How many of you guys have experienced momentum in your business? Show of hands, right? How many of you guys had momentum stop, right? We've all been up and down, up and down. Do you know why that happens? Take your foot off the gas. It happens because you stop putting people in the process. See, people that are being peaked today, do they all sign up? People that see the presentation today, they all sign up? If you are constantly putting people in this funnel, enrolling them every day, every week, every month, somebody's coming out of here. And what happens is we're so busy about recruiting Garrett that I stop filling the funnel. And all my focus goes here into convincing, and right? Anyone done that before or just me? And instead, I'm following up, but I need to put another person in the funnel. And I need to follow up, and then I'll put another person in the funnel. And if you guys continue to peak people, get numbers, follow up, and you constantly have that funnel full, what happens is somebody you peaked last month is now ready to go to a presentation. Somebody that's seen the presentation that might not have been, I've had guys call me up 3 years later and they say, still doing ACN? Yes. I go, man, you got to see what's new. He goes, nope, just sign me up. Like out of the blue, just sign me up. That's actually a team coordinator leg now, by the way. Just sign me up. But you have to continue. Mike, how many times were you invited before you've seen a presentation?
15. I got invited more, but I flaked 15 separate meetings.
He flaked 15 separate times. Yeah. So think about that. If Mr. Weber would have only, or Mr. Tejada, they would have just focused on that, they would have not built anything else, yes or no? So stop, guys, just fill the funnel, fill the funnel, fill the funnel, fill the funnel. And go and put people through the process, enroll them, and watch what happens in your business, guys. The only reason things slow down is because we stop filling that funnel. We stop filling the funnel. We stop filling the funnel. And as leaders, we need to be, it's funny because on the PC call the other day, they were talking about, who's the best leader on your team? You are, right? Are you leading from the front? Be the best recruiter. Teach people, show people. As I'm working with my team, I want to be the example. You hear the buddy system, right? I'm going to show you, and then we're going to do it together. You're going to show somebody. You're leading by example. So just fill that funnel, guys, and watch what happens. Your business is going to explode, and especially from all the stuff that you have right now, all the knowledge is going to be wasted if you don't go and put it into action. And putting it into action is easy. Basudi talked about, you just do this business every day. It's not like you got to stop. You just do it everywhere you go, every day, all the time. Every day, all the time. Talking to people no matter what you're doing. If you're working out, great, meet some people. You're going to Starbucks, great, meet some people. Right? That's how you do ACN, all day, every day. And if everybody doesn't know that you do ACN, you haven't talked to everybody. So when they know me, they relate me with ACN. And I don't get a whole lot of negativity, by the way. They're like, oh, no, because I'm sold out. I'm committed. And that's how I show up, right? So think about how you're showing up also. However you show up has a lot to do with your recruiting. And I don't mean show up and be arrogant and all that stuff. No, just show up, genuine, be authentic, okay? So my part's done. Hopefully that was helpful. I get a chance to bring Mr. Basudi up, and like I said, man, I absolutely love this guy. From early days in ACN as an ETT, he's always coached me, even coached me from afar, and we just got to be great friends. And he doesn't benefit financially from anything, that we do, but you talk about a servant leader, like he's trained the company. He's trained tens of thousands of people, created multiple leaders in and out of his organization worldwide, and that's a true servant leader, guys. Him being here right now, training yesterday, was yesterday's training powerful, guys? Am I the only one that felt like that was just... And him, Mike just makes things so simple. He just makes it so simple. And so, guys, I want you guys to help, really show, as Dean said earlier, we want to hear us in the rooms on the top floors and show our appreciation to Mr. Mike Basudi. Guys, he's top in the industry of network marketing, not just ACN, guys. Been Circle champion many, many times, SVP, made millions of dollars, but he is a top in the industry. So let's show our appreciation, guys. You have him here to train you, and he's pouring his heart out to that. Mr. Mike Basudi.
Can we give Mr. Seever a round of applause one more time? That was a phenomenal training. We're going to be taking little bits of the training and having it on the website. Not all the training, very little bit of it, but Mr. Seever's training will be on there, especially the systematic stuff to build your ACN business. We're going to have that on there. Yesterday.